Good morning, class. So in this live lesson recording, we're going to be going over Unit 4, Lesson 8, which is called Multiplying Numbers in Scientific Notation. So in Lessons 6 and 7, we looked at adding and subtracting. So now we're going to do multiplying. And then in Lesson 9, we're going to do some division. So just as a quick reminder, before we actually get into Lesson 8, I did want to remind you guys that both the test and the sample work for this unit have been dropped, and doesn't look like it's going to bring it up for me, so we're just going to forget that. Maybe my computer's, there we go. I thought maybe my computer frozen. All right, so, but you will have to do the portfolio, which we'll go over in a live lesson recording as well. For Unit 4, I believe it's Lesson 10, but you do not have to do the test or the sample work in this unit. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and get started. So there are 3 steps here, as you can see, to multiplying numbers in scientific notation. So the first step is to multiply coefficients. So in this example here, we would multiply these 2 numbers. So these 2 numbers are the coefficients. We're going to add the exponents of the powers of 10. So just like when we were doing, like, let's say it was 10 to the second times 10 to the third, the rule was we added the exponents, so that would be 10 to the fifth. So 10 to the second times 10 to the third is 10 to the fifth. And then we'll convert back to scientific notation if needed, which we'll go over how to do that. All right, so the first thing we need to do here, and this one, is we need to multiply the powers of 10. So 5.5 times 2.5. Let's go here. Move that out of the way for me. You guys might not see that. 5.5 times was it 2.5, I hope? So 13.75. Okay, so these 2 numbers multiplied are 13.75. Okay, and then we need to add the powers of 10. So in this case, 4 plus negative 5, right? We have the exponent of 4, exponent of negative 5. That would be times 10 to the negative first, because 4 plus negative 5 is negative 1. Okay, so now we want to convert this number back to scientific notation. So 13, you can remember you have to have a coefficient between 1 and 10. So we're going to just move this decimal place over 1. So it would be 1.375. And since we took away a power of 10 here, we have to add a power of 10 here. So we have to add 1 to this. Because we subtracted a power of 10 here from the coefficient, we have to add a power of 10 here. So times 10 to the 0 power, which 10 to the 0 power is literally just 1. So this is the answer here is actually 1.375, but it wants the answer in scientific notation. So that's what that would be in scientific notation. So really that's just 1.375 though. Because again, 10 to the 0 is just 1 because anything to the 0 power is 1. All right, it says a tape dispenser holds 1.26 times 10 to the 5th millimeters of tape that is 13 millimeters wide. Multiply the 2 numbers to find the total area in square millimeters of tape. Write the product in scientific notation. Okay, so we're just multiplying these 2 numbers. So we could do this in a couple different ways. We could convert this to decimal notation. We could convert this to scientific notation, which is pretty simple. Just put a decimal point there, so 1.3, we're just going to do that, times 10 to the, so in this case, it's literally times 10 to the first power, because we just move the decimal place over 1 place. Okay, so again, according to these rules up here, we're going to multiply the coefficients, so times 10 to the 5th. Oh, by the way, this is area. Area is length times width. So that was the length, that was the width. And so then we'll figure that out now. So 1.3 times 1.26, I think were the 2 numbers, times 1.26 equals 1.638. Yes, those are the correct numbers. So these are multiplied. So 1.638 is the multiplication there, and then I have to add the exponents here, so 1 plus 5 is 6. So when you multiply those 2 numbers, you get 1.638 times 10 to the 6th, and this is is square millimeters squared? And that's it for that question. All right, question number 3, again, same thing. Oh, this one's asking for the volume. So it says a sugar cube has a volume of 4.75 milliliters. I think that's supposed to be, no, that's, yeah, milliliters. What is the total volume in milliliters of 1.5 times 10 to the 6 sugar cubes? That is such a weird question. Okay. So that's a lot of sugar cubes. So we need to figure out what is the volume of all these sugar cubes if each sugar cube is 4.75 milliliters. So again, we're just multiplying here. So this number already technically is in scientific notation because it's 4.75. I mean, all we have to do is add times 10 to the 0 power, because we're not moving the decimal place over at all, right? And so if we don't move the decimal place over at all, then we can just call it 10 to the 0. Because again, that's just like multiplying by 1. Because 10 to the 0 is 1. Okay, so I'm just multiplying these two numbers. So 1.5 times 4.75 is the coefficients. 1.5 times 4.75, I get 7.125. 0.125. And then again, I'm going to add the exponents. 6 plus 0 is 6. So 7.125 times 10 to the 6th milliliters in volume. So that's technically milliliters cubed because it's volume. Oh, I guess liters are already, milliliters are already a volume, so we just leave it as milliliters. Okay. Question number 4, it says if the product of a decimal and the coefficient of a number in scientific notation is greater than or equal to 0.1 but less than 1, how do you rewrite the product in correct scientific notation? For example, 0.4 times 10 to the 5th. So the answer here is, and we've done these a few times, is we literally just move the decimal point over, and then if we move it to the left, so this is specifically asking if it's between 0.1 and 1. So then we're going to move the decimal place to the right. So we add a power of 10 here, so then we would subtract a power of 10 here. So it would be 4 times 10 to the 4th. So it says, how do you rewrite the product in correct scientific notation? So we add a power of 10 to the coefficient, subtract a power of 10 from the exponent, or from the power of 10. All right, and last one for this lesson is we're going to, it says the average human heartbeat is that many times. The current population of Massachusetts is that many times. About how many heartbeats occur in Massachusetts per year. That is such a weird calculation, because why in the world would we need to know how many heartbeats happen in the state of Massachusetts? Not a very useful piece of knowledge. But we're going to go ahead and do it since it's what it asked. So again, we're just going to multiply the coefficients. So 7 times 3.5. So it makes a calculator for that. So 7 times 3.5 is 24.5. Oops, 24.5. And then it's going to be times 10. And then again, we're just adding the exponents. So 6 plus 7 is 13. So that's how many heartbeats are in the state of Massachusetts. However, that number is not in scientific notation, so I'm going to change my color here. And the reason is because this number has to be between 1 and 10. So in order to make that happen, I'm going to move the decimal place over 1. I'm taking away a power of 10 here, so I add a power of 10 here. So 2.45 times 10 to the 14th. And that is heartbeats. So heartbeats per year. Again, not a very useful statistic for anything. Or number, piece of data that's very useless. I'm not sure why in the world we would need to know that. All right, that is it for multiplying numbers in scientific notation. If you guys have any questions, by the way, in lesson 9, we're going to be dividing, which is literally the exact same thing. Of course, the only difference is instead of multiplying the coefficients, we divide the coefficients, but then everything else, the steps are the same. So if you guys have any questions, again, feel free to reach out. You can book a time with me, give me a call, text message me, whatever, and we'll work out a time for us to go over it together. We'll see you in the next live lesson.